The man decided to escape from prison right under everyone's noses. The screeching sound of sawing was perfectly masked by the noisy party going on in the cell. Inmates sang loudly and stomped their feet, all to cover his efforts to saw through the floor. Just as the warden opened the door to inspect, the saw broke through. One quick-thinking inmate pulled out a hidden magazine and eagerly dragged the warden over to look. In that moment, the man slipped through the freshly cut hole. At the same time, another inmate rushed into the yard and deliberately climbed the fence, creating a fake escape attempt that successfully drew away a large group of guards. The warden soon sensed something wrong and immediately set off with guard dogs in pursuit. To throw off the dogs, the man didn't hesitate to jump into a filthy ditch and run full speed for 10 kilometers. Even as he neared exhaustion, he pushed on. He crossed railroad tracks along a steel cable, jumped over pasture fences again and again to confuse the dogs, then returned to the tracks and continued north. He even dove into a river and swam underwater to further erase his scent, eventually wearing out the pursuing dogs. His fellow inmates thought he had made it, but the next day, he was brought back to prison and placed in the heaviest leg irons. Still, he wasn't defeated. During outdoor labor, he excused himself into the bushes to relieve himself and asked a guard to keep shaking a small tree as a signal. If the shaking stopped, the guard would fire a warning shot. When the branch stopped moving, the guard grew suspicious and approached only to find a rope dozens of meters long. The man was already gone. He sneaked into a nearby herdsman's home, convinced a boy to lend him a hatchet, swiftly chopped off the leg irons, and even sprinkled chili powder over his footprints. The pursuing dogs were overwhelmed by the spice and completely lost the trail. Not long after, the inmates unexpectedly received a magazine mailed from another province. Inside was a cool photo of him and a beautiful woman. Everyone was filled with envy. But a few days later, the prison gates opened once more, and the familiar figure was dragged back again. The next day, the guards deliberately gave him a hard time, forcing him to dig a deep pit. He exhausted himself completing the task. Then another guard suddenly appeared and ordered him to fill the pit back in, claiming you dug without permission. He obeyed silently, without argument. But soon the first guard returned and demanded, "Where's the pit?" When the man stayed silent, the guard threw him to the ground. Years of pent-up rage exploded. He lunged at the guard, but was struck down by a baton. That night, he suddenly broke down, hugged the guard's leg, and wept in apology, pretend completely collapsed. The prisoners were disappointed to see their idol give in. Little did they know it was all an act. From then on, he pretended to be obedient and worked quietly, all while secretly planning his real escape. During another outdoor work detail, he took advantage of a distracted guard and quietly climbed onto a truck. When ordered to fetch water from the vehicle, he instantly started the engine and sped out of the prison at full speed. Another prisoner seized the chance, leaped onto the truck, and escaped with him.